I believe you're on the wait list for the Tesla Semi. Tell me a little bit about this interest.
Well, I was watching Tesla as a company up through the growing pains and all, and it did intrigue me. I see the battery operated vehicles coming, and they're here. And I saw when they rolled out the Semi in 2019, it really caught my eye, especially with a 500-mile range. And for me, it's not so much green as the technology, and there's not as many moving parts. You don't have the engine and trans and the emissions and all that good stuff to go wrong. Simple and cleaner. So I got in line. I have a reservation for one. I guess the time will tell till it gets to me if the infrastructure will support it. So one of my concerns is the infrastructure there? Do we have routes that, if I'm just going back and forth between warehouses and I have a charging infrastructure at the warehouses, I'm good. Yep. That's going to fit it beautifully. But you have to have the right setup for electric semis at this point to make it work. I did just drive one recently, Nikola. Took it out for a test drive. Drives like a sports car. Take off and could burn rubber almost. No, not quite, but
oh gosh,
they're fast.
Yeah.
They're nice. The technology's there, but also it showed me that there's some work till they're ready for prime time.
Yep.
It's a developing, emerging market. There's a hydrogen electric truck coming. That I think that may have more traction quicker than the total electric. But the total electric for local rounds is going to be
exactly.
Gonna be
so
key.
there's that difference of local, regional versus long haul, and so Tesla Semi is sort of that local regional. I believe Cascadia with Daimler, that's sort of that local regional truck. But I think the Kenworth hydrogen fuel cell, that's long haul. I believe they're focused on, or at least 500 mile range or something like that as well. But all fascinating. This transition. I know the ATA Spear just mentioned, I think yesterday, that he was like, "Whoa, slow down!" Like,
well, California put some pretty stringent things in place that I think are going to have to be rolled back, based on what I know of the industry currently. But it's fun. It's fascinating watching these companies transition from diesel to electric to hydrogen. It's fascinating watching the business model change.
I agree, and it's interesting too, because I think, it is coming. The question is, timeline, and then the sort of phase out of older vehicles to newer vehicles. But I think almost regardless if it's however the battery or the electric is being charged, basically, the costs are insanely impressive. Less maintenance with just the motors. And then you have, the electric, I think 200-mile round trip for a diesel truck would be like $170, $5 per gallon of diesel. Or the Tesla Semi with similar costs for electricity at that time, like $28.
Yeah, it's significant.
Yeah, so it is fascinating, and I understand, like you mentioned, this transition of getting charging infrastructure out there. Is it something, I know short term, they're getting the vehicles out to Pepsi, Walmart, and others, these big ones, where they're going to put charging infrastructure at these warehouses and sites. Is it something, do you see it being at your site as well?
I did some research on that. It costs anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 to install a charging system at my warehouse. So depending on the economics of the whole package would probably drive that. Obviously, if you don't have to do that, it'd be nice. But relying on that infrastructure to get up and going, it's going to be challenging as well. But I would see putting that infrastructure at our warehouses and using that as our point-to-point.
And do you have any worries on, not battery range, but maybe like the charging time involved or anything like that?
Well, with where our warehouses are located, they have to, it's too far for out and back in a day, so they have to spend time there anyhow. So from that perspective, for our model, that would not be an issue.
Nice.
But out on the road, yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts or for other fleets, whether it's big or small, like what they should consider with this transition?
I'd say just keep watching the marketplace and be ready to change when it comes. The early adopters, usually, what do they call it, the bleeding edge?
Yeah.
Do the math, do your numbers, make sure it works for you. It's not a fit for everybody. You have to make sure you have a model that supports it and gives a return on investment.